Political analyst Dallas Jones joins us now to break it down even further.
Well, let's start with the hero, Dallas. It hurt. It got hurt by the inclusion of that language, or the lack of exclusion of the bathroom language, didn't it?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think, again, I have reminded people that the campaign to actually pass Proposition 1 started within the last 2 months. However, the campaign against hero started over a year ago when the measure was first introduced. So it gave some time for this idea of men and women's restrooms to really resonate. And the pro-hero side, rather, just didn't have the time to recover.
Let's talk about the mayoral race for a moment, because we know that about 27% of people showed up to vote yesterday. How do you feel the next turnout will be? We've got next month. They'll be going back to decide who the mayor will be. Do you think it will be at least that high, or could it go higher? Or no, because do you think hero got people there to the polls?
Hero drew out many people. You had an a large amount of first-time voters. You typically are going to see a downfall in a runoff. Typically, your electorate shrinks and you target purely those voters that actually voted the first time. The logic is, if you didn't come out the first time, you're not going to come out the second time. And so that you're going to have a drop-off, which is going to severely shrink the electorate, which could be problematic for those in the runoff.
A couple of very different candidates left standing.
Absolutely.
How do they appeal to the voters who cast their support elsewhere?
Well, and I think that's exactly the case, right? What happens with those progressive voters that are kind of deflated because hero didn't pass, and so they're not motivated to come back out, right? What happens to those conservatives who frankly voted more than we've seen them vote in a very long time last night and over the last couple of weeks? Do they come back out for Bill King? Can he motivate them well enough to actually be viable against what is traditionally a more democratic-leaning city?
So we're going to see a lot of campaigning between those two, I'm sure, in the next month, won't we?
You're going to see a lot of campaigning, and I wouldn't expect for it to be too pretty.
Yeah.
That's typically the case.
Any other notable findings that you found a surprise at all?
Well, you have a lot. You have a number of incumbents that are going into a runoff in some of the district races. And I think one of the things that we aren't talking about this morning is the fact that whoever the next mayor is, as of last night, gets 4 years in office. The city council members that win, they now have 4 years. That's a big change in our government here in Houston because the voters elected to do so.
That is a big one.
That also means people who are on city council sitting get kind of grandfathered in. They get a longer term. So
some people will end
love
up
them or hate them.
Yep,
you're stuck with some of those folks.
Or you vote against them next time around.
Or you change it again and say, wait, maybe that was too long after all.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe it'll be a positive. We hope so. Dallas, good to see you as always. Thanks for coming in and taking your time with us.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Dallas.